Hi guys, my name is Mark and you're on the 5-Minute AI channel, and I have a bad news for you. This AI agent node, it's a bullshit for building real AI agents. But at the same time, I have a really good news for you. I know how to fix that, and this is what we're gonna discuss in this video. So let me explain. For example, you build some AI agent. Usually AI agent have a memory node, model node, multiple different tools. Sometimes you can specify structured output also, and you want to specify some prompt as a user message and system message. So how it actually works when you send in something to AI doesn't have some differences between all this stuff, or it's sent in as one big text. The right answer is one big text, because LLM doesn't have a sort of real memory. You just have some special definitions for different parts in your messages that helps to recognize, for example, user prompt, system prompt, tools, and other parts of the request. So this is how the average request looks like. Some of them, for example, of course, tools are optional and structured output also optional. But for our case that I just showed to you, we have these things. So when we send in something to AI agent, it will have in the prompt like hidden OpenAI system prompt. I suppose that stopping different bad secure things internally in OpenAI. After that, we have a system prompt and user prompt. This is what you specify here, user prompt, system prompt. After that, we have tools, and each tool have own definition. For example, here we have description of the tool. We have some input and output that this tool should return. And also we have a thread history. For example, when you chat with ChatGPT, you have like chat history, but here we have a memory where we actually gathering like last 5 messages, for example, from our PostgreSQL and sending directly to OpenAI. And then we also have a structured output schema if you specified it, this one. So everything we send together to AI agent. And with each new message and with each new tool request, stuff is compounding. So for example, AI agent trying to get some data using this tool, and after that it get results of this tool. It's this result adding to the whole this mix of different text, result of the first tool, then result of the second tool, everything compound. Then, for example, it's responding to you, and after that you're asking another question. So now we have one message, the second message, and again it should remembers everything that was before, even these tools requests, and it's adding you to answering 2101. And after like 5 questions, for example, usually 3 to 5 questions, your thread history forget the previous messages, because we have limitations here, only 5 messages, and AI agents behave really bad. So how to avoid it actually? Because for all this stuff, everything you see here, we have only 1 million tokens window for mini models. For biggest models, we have even less, like 32,000, for example, for reasoning models. So how it actually looks like from the OpenAI side, what we're trying to send it, and why AI agent node works differently from the OpenAI assistant node. So this is how OpenAI teach own model to recognize different parts in the message. So they have special definitions, like for example this one, system message star, system message and, user message start, user message and. And the name of it is a chat ML. It's a Microsoft page, you can find it here. And different models use different type of markup language. So you can send the same stuff to Gemini, for example, and ask it to recognize it, because it's used to different markup. That's why it's very important to keep everything the same as AI learns to do that. And how it actually works in AI agent node, because you think if you add this OpenAI model, maybe it will use AI assistant from the OpenAI. Actually not. We can check each node of N8N in GitHub, because N8N is open source stuff, and you can go to GitHub, this one N8N, and check everything that you want, that you actually see here. Yeah, all this stuff. You can find how it works with code inside this GitHub. So I found this, it's a agent, tools agent, version 2. Yeah, this is the code of how it works. And as you can see, it uses LangChain. LangChain is a special framework that lets you input some data, and then it actually translates using different special methods to markup for different models. That's why you can choose like different models, Azure, Anthropic, Google, DeepSeek, Llama, everything. Yeah, because it just works as a translator for all these models. And you can find here, for example, that they hard-coded some instructions if you use JSON. Yeah, so you can get access to these instructions. It's already some limitation for you because you can control the results. So also LangChain, while it trying to translate everything, sometimes it misses some important details, sometimes it differently, yeah, not how OpenAI used to do that. And let me show you how it actually works. So for example, yeah, we have this AI agent, I just run it, and here we have a logs, and in the logs you can check how it actually talks to OpenAI. Yeah, so we have this first message, and what we see, so this input is like system, text of the system message. Yeah, this is my prompt, human. This is usually like part of memory, so we have no memory here, so it's empty. And then we have user request, what tables exist. Yeah, I just asked and received some answer. And after that, I tried to retrieve some database schema. Yeah, it used tool. So the tool return us this stuff. Oh my gosh, a lot of data. Yeah, so be careful, set up your tools, because it can easily return you thousands of tokens and easily spend all your money. So as you can see, this part was, yeah, this one, and then tool result was added here. What does it mean? It means that we increasing number of tokens and increasing the message itself every time when we trigger in different tools. But also it means that I'm not actually sure how it's translated, but I see that it's a one text. It's not splitted as OpenAI used to. That's why, based on my opinion, and I tested it with clients and multiple projects, it works really bad. AI agents, because of this mess in the text, AI agents start to, first of all, understand words are your prompts and user requests. The second stuff, it's much more complex for them to choose right tool. Yeah, because you see the mess, and also you don't see here, but it also received a description of the tools, and it's trying to understand what's going on here and if I need to answer something like that. And also, if you have memory messages, it will be pasted in the middle, so it's very strange. And like if you have a long messages, and if you're repeating the same question, sometimes it can understand if it's the answer from the tool or if it's a previous message or if it's something else, and it becomes really crazy. So how to fix it, what we need to do instead of using this AI agent. Yeah, so I tested it multiple times when I just replaced this AI agent with OpenAI assistant node, and it works like perfect. It's like smart as it should be. So you can simply replace it, because it's also provide you ability to add all these tools. You can use external memory like this one, like you use it here, but I prefer to use thread. Yeah, you can use thread ID and specify thread ID, or just leave it blank if you want to create it. OpenAI threads works much better because they have smart system where they summarize everything that you had before and not wiping it out as we do here. Yeah, so like if something important was like 7 messages ago, AI won't know it. But if something important was 7 messages ago with AI, it will summarize it in a one sentence, for example, and OpenAI will still remember it. Yeah. And also, if you need to use structured output parser, you can add not to AI agent itself, but for example, as a next node, this information extractor and specify all attributes that you want to extract. But again, this one is based again on a lang chain, so I don't really like it, and because it works not really reliable, you know, I can't, for example, doing for my clients, I can be sure that it's 100% that it returns needed JSON. But I want to do that. So for these cases, I prefer to use custom HTTP requests to get responses from OpenAI. Yeah, it looks like that. It might scare you, but it's not really. It's quite simple when you understood that. So in this flow, you can control everything. What I control, I'm controlling thread management. Yeah, I control different users has own threads, so I can control that it was created. Also, this part is simply equal to this one. So again, N8N simplified you everything, and they just made with code this stuff. But the problem is that, for example, you can specify system prompt here, and you need to go to assistants, you need to create new assistants, specify system instruction. If you want to change something on the fly, you can't do that. You need to go here, but actually it's possible. Yeah, for example, sometimes I need to change prompts on fly or add some additional instructions. Yeah. So here you can do that. How the threads works, you need to first of all send message. After that, you need to run assistant. Yeah, and also I can specify structured output here. Yeah, for example, I specify some JSON schema and take it from here. Yeah, so I know that 100% of answers from OpenAI Assistant will follow this structure. It's much more reliable than this one. And after that, you can control also tool calling, because with this HTTP request, if like OpenAI Assistant need to call your tool, it will answer to you, and you need to process this request. And for example, here I'm processing this request with the vector store. Yeah, for example, it can trigger some vector store database, and I just submit the tool response, and then OpenAI Assistant again can request multiple times different tools, and after their actual response will be finally made, we send it to the user. Yeah, this is how it really works. This is what I do for my real clients, because this stuff is totally not reliable. You can't like scale it really. It's just bullshit, you know. Forget about it. When it works, when it works if you need to choose different model. Yeah, because some of these models also provide API, some of them not. And yeah, if you need to change models, for example with OpenRouter, again you need to use this stuff, but again you will pay with the quality of the results. Yeah, and I don't really like it, for example. Thank you for your time, and if you want to know more about how to build AI agents, check our community. We have a ton of different AI agents. We have an N8N course, how to build it with N8N. We have a global course where we build in web applications. Yeah, so see you there. Have a good day. Bye.